Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Power Rankings edition on here on iHeart Sports. Doing a little live recording. It's Sunday night. The late night Braves Phillies game still going on, but I had to get this recorded prior to the Vegas game because I'm going to be watching that and whatnot. Go Golden Knights. Missed last week. But we're back at it. We're basically at the halfway point of the season already. I can't believe it's flying by. Just gonna try and rip through this. Sorry, not every team I remember exactly how their week went, but every day I'm updating this, trying to go based on who they're playing, who they're winning, and whatnot. Let me know what you guys think. You're gonna probably disagree with most of it. That's okay. This is just strictly the way I've been seeing things. Starting things off, 30th worst team in the league, Pittsburgh Pirates. Even though they just finished sweeping this weekend, they swept the Brewers. Still going to put them down there. Brewers aren't too good, and the Pirates have a long way to go before they're not last place. 29, I got the LA Angels. They've just been awful. They've had an awful season. The only Mike Trout's playing amazing as per usual. Rendon seems to be high wins over replacement kind of guy, but their pitching's been awful. Bundy got lit up this week. They just can't seem to win a series, and in the West, they're not going to go far. 28, I got the Red Sox, Boston. They split the series with the O's over the past 4 games. They lost earlier in the week as well. Boston look like they're packing it in basically, so not too much going on for them. 27, Texas Rangers. They fell a lot for me in the past few days. Slam Diego, put them in their place when their manager talked smack to Tatis for hitting that grand slam. Then there were many more grand slams. And they continue to lose this weekend against Seattle. So, yeah, they're definitely in the bottom here, and their chances at playoffs seem to be pretty much done at this point. Next up, 26, I got the Phillies. Phillies had a very rough week. Atlanta's been handling them over the past couple days. The Blue Jays had 2 huge comebacks in the 7-inning doubleheaders against them. I think they played the Yankees early in the week and lost. So the bullpen in Philadelphia is just atrocious. They're just underperforming and they're not where they need to be. Next up, we got New York Mets. Mets were having a good early week against the Marlins. They were winning. Then the COVID situation happened, and they had their postponements over the weekend. So, number 25, we have the Mets. Their trajectory seems to be going up, though. So, look for them to get into the next ratings. Next up, 24, I got the Mariners. They're on the climb. Ever since I talked smack that they were in 30th, they've been climbing. They gave the Dodgers a little bit of a test. Dodgers still smacked them up most games, but they kept it close. They gave up runs, they scored runs, and they're doing better than these teams. They're at least fighting every game, and they should be proud of how they've been playing, considering everyone's counting them out. 23, Cincinnati. This Cincinnati's been in a weird one. Didn't really honestly follow them too much this week. They must have been pretty mediocre at best, so not going to really comment on them other than they're not where we want them to be. 22, Nationals. Nationals, they've been winning a little bit. I probably should have them ahead of the Marlins, but Marlins, I forget where I put them, but they should be there. Milwaukee, I got them 21, but let's just do this because we're going to put Milwaukee at 22, just instantly on the spot, putting them below the Nationals. Pirates have been smacking them. Milwaukee's looked awful. They're not scoring runs. They're giving up runs. They're just... that's been a rough season for Milwaukee. Next up, 20. Orioles, and they've come back down to earth. Much like this next team, they start out really hot, and they're still winning games here and there, but not winning enough. And right now, they find themselves on the playoff picture looking inward, so they need to step it up better than they've been doing the past couple weeks if they're going to be in the playoffs. Same with the Tigers, number 19. Tigers, after the smashings from Indians last week, and they went on an 8 or 9 game losing streak, really had them free fall, and I don't know, they finally cracked the Indians this past couple days, but past that, I don't really count much. Number 18, Arizona Diamondbacks, and I had them higher, I've had them lower. Diamondbacks have just not been able to beat the Giants this weekend. Ever since they went on that Coors trip, followed with a lot of offense, their offense has come back down to earth. I think they've only won 1 or 2 games the past week. They're a team heading in the wrong direction right now, and they can't seem to get the bats going at all. San Francisco really shut them down. Kansas City, 17. I think on a given night, Kansas City, you're not surprised if you see them beat teams that are ahead of them. They're just consistently in ball games and consistently in the talk. They're not losing like crazy. They're not winning like crazy. They're just kind of floating along. But in theory, they're in the playoff hunt, so I got them at number 17. Number 16, Marlins. A little bit of a fall. Probably a little bit higher than they should be at this point. They just been losing. They've been playing a lot of 7-inning games, so it's kind of hard to get a real feel for this team. So I got them right in the middle right now. Another team, number 15, the Cardinals, who we're not super sure about. They've missed half the season, really. They've got about 15 games played, where some teams have 30. Right in the middle, they got a 500 record. We're not really going to know a lot more about St. Louis until the next week or two, where they start playing a lot more games, really increasing their sample size. Number 14, the Giants, and this they're climbing, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. They fight. They never give up, and they're always trying to win these games. And in such a tough divisions of the West, they're pulling it off so far. Just coming off a huge series sweep of the Diamondbacks, which will really catapult them into potentially fighting for second place in this division. But again, this division is really tough. But they're at least in the playoff mix at this point in time. Number 13, got the Toronto Blue Jays. They were a little bit on fire there, coming back against the Phillies. They had beaten Baltimore, swept them. They had a 6-game win streak going. Unfortunately, they were facing Tampa Bay this weekend, and Tampa Bay seems to be one of the top teams in the league. Again, they lose 2 out of the 3 against Tampa Bay, so that's 3 series now that they've dropped to Tampa Bay. If they're not playing Tampa Bay, though, they're usually in pretty good shape. Sure enough, though, if the playoffs start today, I'm pretty sure that's who they would be up against. Number 12, consistently starting to fall. The Colorado Rockies. I'm still giving them a little bit because Blackman is just super sick. Their pitching, it's been a little bit struggling the past week or two, but I think it's going to come around. Specifically, Marquis had a little bit of trouble his last 2 starts. They've dropped a sub 500 record now. Still have them in the top 15. This West, it's really going to eat them alive. They played the Stros and the Dodgers this week, so tough matchups. Both teams ahead of them, so I didn't punish them too much for losing. Number 11, I got the Atlanta Braves, and a lot of this has to do with their division. It's not a super strong division, so I think this is the highest NL East team out of them all, so they do get to crack up there because they'll be pretty much getting a pretty good playoff spot if they can maintain winning the division, which I think they can. Fried has been a pretty much the only story for a starter for them. Their bats have been awesome, but Acuna and Albies have been injured this past week at least. So I got them there for now, and really it's because they're going to keep beating up on these weak East teams. Number 10, White Sox. They've been turning around. They've been slowly climbing up this rankings that I've been doing, and they finally cracked the top 10. Beating the Cubs this weekend, barely losing today. And I know they had a good series earlier in the week. I can't remember who they played, but they won that one as well, I'm fairly certain. White Sox have a lot of promise ahead of them. And really, the Central has a lot of chance to beat up on the weak teams, and you have to beat up on the weak teams if you're going to make the playoffs. So far, they've been doing that. Number 9, it's Cubs. I actually had them at 1 about 10 days ago or so, and then ever since then, they've just kind of been losing. It's really come to fruition that their offense isn't scoring quite enough runs for them to win the ball games that are close. Their starting pitching continues to be amazing. There's still a little bit of question marks around the bullpen, but they're this high up because really the NL Central is pretty wide open for them taking. I think this next one down is the Cardinals, who we don't even know who they are at this point. So Cubs, they've been beating the teams they need to, winning the series for the most part. Lost some key games to Milwaukee that might come and bite them down the road, but for now we got them in top 10. Number 8, San Diego, aka Slam Diego, climbing slowly, a little bit consistent though. They've been in the top 12 or so since the beginning of this. Their offense has been pretty amazing, and their pitching's been getting the job done. And Tatis Jr. has just been a god for them. So super stoked. Continue watching this team. I expect big things from them. If it weren't for the Dodgers, they'd be a lot higher because they'd be walking all over this West. But it is what it is. This West is definitely very stacked, and that leads us to number 7. I got the Astros. The offense seems to be coming a little bit alive. They lost today. Again, it's going to be their team ahead of them. So, not holding too much against them. I don't know what else to really say. The Astros, they're still getting wins. Number 6, the highest I think they've been so far, Cleveland Indians. They're doing what you need to do. Like I've been saying this whole power rankings, they're beating the teams they need to. They swept the Pirates. They keeping games super close. They did drop a couple to Detroit this weekend, but the week before they swept them as well. They're winning majority of the games they need to win. They're pitching. They just keep producing new pitchers that are lights out. They can't really go much farther unless their offense wakes up more than it is. If anything, it's going to hold them back. And they're not the highest in the division, but they're definitely fighting for it. Number 5, I got the Oakland A's. A's have been consistently winning the games. They had the 9-game win streak earlier this season, kind of catapulted them up. They're competing and they're top in the AL West, so it being one of the toughest divisions, I had to give them the credit to be up there. Number 4, climbing up the Tampa Bay Rays. Rays, what can I say? They're winning. They're beating the Yankees, who even though they're ahead, they're beating them. They did have that one stumbling time, and in a normal baseball season, every team would have that. But in a 60-game season, that's the only really thing that's standing out to me is why they're not any higher. But being 4th, like you're pretty high. Number 3, got the Minnesota Twins. Twins have been playing great. They're winning their division. Very competitive. They're winning most series that they're in. Pitching's been solid. Maeda's been pretty much a standout, the pitcher that they're really hoping him to be. And their lineup's coming together. So, number 3 for the Twins. Number 2, they were off this weekend. New York Yankees. No, I can't put that upside down. Whoops. Okay, New York Yankees, number 2. They were off this weekend, like I said. I was really hoping to see how they would play against the Mets, but we're not going to see that. They're really battling a lot of injuries, but they're still getting their wins, and they're still top in the division, so I'm not holding against them. Tampa Bay beat them a couple times, but I'm going to give it due to injuries, due to the consistency that New York has shown throughout the season. We're going to leave it at that, and that leaves us number 1 for like the second week in a row, possibly. LA Dodgers. What can I say? Like, what else do I say? The Dodgers are the best team in baseball. They have great pitching. Their lineup is thorough. Their defense is thorough. When they win, they usually win by a handful of runs. So that's really all it is, and that's where we're at, approximately halfway through the season. I know most people will disagree with at least some of this, so let me know what you guys think, and we'll be back next week with some more. Thanks for watching. Peace out.